Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Hey, Katie, I see you.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, thank you.
I see you.
Okay. Okay.
Katie, were you saying something?
Nope.
All right.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call to order the Haslet City Council this Monday evening, December 11th, 2023 at 7. I can't see the clock very well. Let me get my atomic clock down here. 7:03 p.m. There is a quorum present. All council members are present in the chambers. If you would bow your heads with me, I'll offer an invocation, and then we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Father in heaven, we ask for your blessing. I pray for Israel's victory over Hamas. I pray for our state and national leaders as they consider the complex issues of local, national, and international matters, that they be guided by your wisdom. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And before we move on, but I know I'll forget it, I want to wish all of you a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. We will not meet again until after the New Year. So Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all. And one thing I would ask is at some point is to forget about all the says participation.
So here's I feel. To me, it's. I know I have. It's been. I totally that consultant, but I just want to take this up, talk about what it means to see a delay. May know, and some that may not know, head on at 150. It did result in drivers that were involved. I'm for sure not sure people that were involved, but see this loss of life, very concerned. Family. And so we're going to obtain lessons after. They catch me. After they get out the west. I don't want to tie up about it. It comes to a life safety issue. I don't really see another way around that sometimes. um, um, whenever we're talking about this, to me, it's important because of the traffic flow that we're building. More houses, we're building more warehouses. The warehouses and the BNSF, it's all going to result in more. We all know that. We don't have a choice. We don't have a choice here. They're not going anywhere. We're going to have to deal with it one way or another. And I don't see how we're going to get away with not having to expand 156. The reason why I wanted to come up here and really say something is because I'm really looking forward to seeing what the city has as far as the house to move forward on that. And I understand this is a TxDOT project, and that they have to be the ones to do the project and all that stuff. But in the end, I believe the city has a pretty big part. And as we all know, there was a resolution that was put forth in October of 22 that said that we don't want the speed limit above no speed between Blue Mountain Road and 287 above 35 miles. And that speed limit there currently is 55 miles an hour. I don't know what we can do with that resolution to try to get the speed limit. I would love to, but the project they have currently from 2018 doesn't show any speed limits being raised from the current speed limits that we have in the city at this time. So with that said, I just really looking forward to the city moving forward on the project. I want to see what the city has with the consultants. I understand maybe that will be ready next month, and I'll mark it on the calendar here again, and hopefully we'll get to see all that. Thank you very much.
Good, Mr. Brooks, I appreciate it. And don't comment, but one study that we're bringing is a speed analysis with regard. It's not determining the number of lanes or anything of that nature. The city of Haslet has a lot of 42 transportation code. In fact, there's an asset transportation code that gives the city, regardless of that size of that, the same authority as the Transportation Commission on these matters. Because the road is our city. So we do have a lot of say. The first step and is addressing the speed and taking into account these fatalities and how uncomfortable it is to get on FM 156 as it is. And this is all addressing that, and we won't have to wait 10 years. These are things that in cooperation with the Transportation Commission. Notice I didn't say TxDOT, but the Transportation Commission allows that. But thank you. Concern is very well understood. Sir, if you'd like to speak, you'd like to come to the podium and give your name and address, you may speak. But I wanted to make that one comment. We're not discussing on any items, but you may come and make a comment, please.
My name is Greg Harrison. My wife known the House Center, for FM 156. Along with you, happen to know the building that passed, and very sad that it happened. But from a business owner standpoint, 156 is causing a lot of grief. A lot of my business. I've lost multiple families because they can't get in and out of the center because of truck traffic. And I understand that the trucks have to way to get in and out. Is also in Avondale Haslet. One point, according to the sheriff, Avondale Haslet was no truck traffic, and they don't really know. They don't change. I guess my question is tonight, because again, because like this gentleman, I didn't know this was coming up, but how do you guys feel about widening one? I think that's what people really want to know is how do you feel? How do you have a lot of say in what happens? What do you want? Because I know what the people that I talk to want, and I know what my customers and my families want. I certainly don't want to get a child in harm's way any more than he have to. And again, as he said, with all the housing, all the warehousing, airport, it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. So it has to get better. And I don't know how that works. But I'd like to know, what do you guys want? Y'all not want the city to have a 4 or 5 lane or whatever?
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak? Anybody online? Anyone else in the audience? All right, then, let's we go to item 4. Items of community interest. Holiday hours. All city offices and the library will be closed December 23rd through the 26th, and December 30th through January 1st for the holidays. The library renovations, just real quick, all the interior shelves, not the exterior, not the shelving along the exterior walls, but all interior shelves are being replaced, and that takes about a month. But so the Haslet Public Library will be closed starting Monday, January 2nd for the renovations, and will reopen January 25th. Haslet is hiring. You would go to the website and look under employment opportunities at Haslet, www.haslet.org, and you'll apply. That would be excellent. Item 5, administrative reports.
Excuse me, Mayor, one other thing there on item number 4. While we're at this, I'd like to take a minute to thank Park Board, Public Works, Kurt, the MTs that all worked, the Christmas in the Park celebration that we had. I'd say the event was a big success. Of course, all the success always depends on, dear Lord, the good weather we have for outdoor events. It all came together. I think the whole city staff did a good job. Coordinate. Katrina, as always, spearheading it and guiding people in the right direction. But thank all you guys. Chamber folks, everybody chipped in, did their part. Things came together. Santa Claus rode in on the fire truck as usual. Big splash, big crowd. Kids loved it. So thank y'all very much.
You're right, Councilman Hort. They did do an excellent job, and Parks Board. We got a member out there now. Raise your hand. Be acknowledged. There you are. You all did a good job, and a lot of volunteers. I had a good time. Excellent. Item 5, administrative reports. Council, do you have any questions on report?
Mayor Holty?
Yes.
I did have a question on 5C, the engineering report.
Yes.
Kind of to go along with 156. It says a study was completed on 8/31/23. Is there a way to get a copy of that study?
One is planned to be emailed out to the council in approximately 2 weeks.
Okay. Thank you.
And then that will show up. It'd be for your advanced study, and it will be on the January. Any other questions, council?
Yes, Mayor Wolsey. On the gas well report, I noticed that there are some areas that need improvement on some of the wells that are out there. And so I was wondering if on the report we could see when those items are taken care of by the owners.
We can investigate that. Of course, the way this flows, we have our consultant who does all these inspections, That person does not enforce that. They just cite it and they send it to the operator and notify them. Then it becomes our code enforcement official's job to go and inspect. You give them a certain, give them time to respond, and then they follow up to determine whether it's been accomplished or not. And if it hasn't, and they need reminding, they remind that operator, you need to do this. So you're asking for a follow-up on every one of these items?
Well, I just noticed there were several things that kind of,
They've been very
concerning to
good
me.
that once we notify them,
and they take care of it.
they take care of it.
Okay.
They have been good at that. Our staff and the operators have a very good relationship and very communicative, and that they copy me on back and forth. I don't get involved in it, but I see the email traffic, the communicating, and the operators and we have one operator, BKB, that has all these wells out here, over 100 wells, and they are mindful of where they
Okay.
are.
So the code enforcement takes care of enforcing
The
it.
enforcement of it,
Okay.
yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mayor, I had one other question on on 5I, the economic development. It mentioned in blue that we have, or the type B is contracting with a real estate broker and a commercial broker. I was just curious on the cost of that. Is that for just looking at the properties to see what?
There's no cost. They're
it's free.
contracting to sell the property. They have contracted to sell the property.
Like I look back at the finance reports, I didn't see a cost.
There's no
There's no cost. Okay.
There's no cost. It's like any other real estate. Yeah, they get a percent of the fee of the sale.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
No upfront cost. These are just normal standard transactions. Good question. Anybody, any other questions now? All right then. Well, let's updates on active items, projects, event recaps. Start with the event recap. Christmas in the park. Good job. Excellent. We had all good time, and everybody around did. The Haslet Parkway construction project. The utilities have finally cleared, and the plan for construction is, I'll say, demolition. Really, they got to move a lot of dirt out of the way. Is planned to start here in the very near future, most likely after the first of the new year. They have been prepping the intersection. If you've seen them out there, they're stringing wire to put in what they call a temporary signalization, because the big poles with the signs, the arms with the signal lights, those will be taken down, and the signal lights will be thrown overhead because they got to get relocated, moved out to accommodate the roadway. You see nothing on here, the parks or the equipment purchases. There's nothing to report here. Okay, item 7. You got any questions on that update? Item 7. Consent is approval of the November 13, 2023 regular city council meeting minutes.
Mayor Halsey,
Yes.
I make a motion to approve the November 13, 2023 regular city council meeting minutes.
Motion is made to approve the November 13, 2023 regular city council meeting minutes. Is there a second?
Mayor Halsey, I'll second.
There is a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you, council. Item 8, public hearings, ordinances, resolutions, and action items. 8A is discuss, consider an act regarding approving Comcare Unified Communications proposal presented by DataMax for a new citywide phone system. And we have Ms. Katie Potts online with us, and Katie will present this item.
Good evening. My name is Katie Potts. I am the administrator, but I'm wearing my other hat tonight, which is also part of the IT committee. This proposal, the Comcare Unified Communications proposal, is for a new citywide phone system. The phones we currently use are over 10 years old, and we're running into problems, not quite daily, but we're getting there. This was an approved budget item, and it actually is coming in about $4,200 under budget. This will provide a new telephone for each employee. This is a web-based telephone system, and the Comcare United Communications is provided through DataMax, which is our managed IT vendor for the city. So that'll make it easier for us when we do have issues that might arise, that we can just call DataMax for computers or phones. Richard Martin from DataMax is in the audience should there be any IT questions for him.
Along with that, Katie, I understand is inclusive.
I'm sorry, Mary, could you repeat your question, please?
It was already on. Okay, thank you. Oh yeah, this proposal includes a new networks upgrade, or we're going to a new fiber optic. Is that correct?
That's correct as well, yes, sir.
Internet service. That's what I was struggling for. Internet service, and it because AT&T just finished laying new service just right in front of our building here. And please, Mr. Martin. Mr. Martin is from DataMax. He services us as and is taking very good care of us, and he is also representing this pump system.
Yes, sir. I did want to mention that this particular contract or proposal does not include the internet services, though we are upgrading the internet services in addition to this as well. I believe that is the next agenda item or 2 agenda items down.
Yes, you're correct.
Okay.
And,
Just wanted to make sure.
Sorry to mislead you that way, but this whole package, this item's only on phone system, not internet.
Correct. The unified communication system, so phones, instant messaging, voicemail. It is web-based, as Katie said, so it's something you can use on your cell phone as well. If you're out and about, when you make a phone call from there, you can have it set to where it comes from the city as well.
Council, do you have any questions? Any of you technical folks on IT side of the world?
No, well, I just have some budget questions. We came $4,200 under, so this is probably for Ms. Potts or Ms. Lamb. So when we have to purchase additional phones, it's not included in the $20,000. I think they're $150 a piece, and then the service is about $25 a month. So will it come from that $4,200 if we have to replace anything or buy new phones for new employees?
If it happened during this fiscal year, yes, it would. Going forward, we'd probably have it in a maintenance item.
Okay.
But if there's any additional phones needed that we maybe didn't foresee with this original proposal, that $4,200 can go towards that. And then we'd probably put something in future years' budget if we needed to replace a phone or two. Or
I'm hoping we don't hire that many employees. $4,200 will buy a lot of $150 phone. Very good. Any other questions on the phone system?
I have a question. Is there any savings in going to this system versus what system did we have before this system?
So the system you had before was a in-house, so the phone server itself was in-house. And as Katie said, that system is quite old. And so right now, I believe y'all are just paying for a maintenance plan for that system, as well as there is a phone line or a internet line connection coming into that system so that you can make phone calls going out. So as for savings, this one is more expensive, though there are much more features that are included in this system. It is a new up-to-date system. And I don't have the exact numbers of what y'all were paying prior.
Yes, I don't have those either.
And with this is,
Katie might.
let me see, one moment.
I will make a comment while Katie is looking there. Much of this, one, is the system's antiquated. We do have a problem. And also is this is a much more functional system for today's work environment, in that how we communicate, in that someone can, this system will give us the ability, they can call the landline assigned to, say, such as the mayor's office, but I can have it actually come up here. And vice versa, I can call from here, and it goes out showing my office number. So that's just one little item, but the functionality of it and the service that we'll get out of it, and the reliability of it going forward in future years is a primary driver as well.
The reason I asked is my company just went through a similar type of system, but it was an old analog system. And going from analog to the cloud and fiber-based, it actually dropped the phone bill every month. This is with a service provider with AT&T. I know you provide a separate service, but with the similar company as yours, this company was able to lower our monthly bill going to this system. And that's the reason I asked how much were we paying before, what type of system, and is it the case, when we change over to this one?
So currently, because the system is so old and the phones are so old, we own the phones outright. We pay for the monthly service. However, when we get into any issues, we have to call QUORUM. And I know last time Katrina had an issue with, I think it was the phone tree or the messaging. It was a simple fix that she was unable to do it without her assistant, and it cost almost $500 just for that one instance. So it will be an upfront, cost to get it set up, but hopefully it'll provide more reliable equipment for the staff we use moving forward.
And maintenance and support is included with this system.
Standard phone support or maintenance if you're having issues or need to change something in the system, that is included. If for some reason you said, okay, we want to completely rip down everything that you have the way that it's set up and we have to reconfigure it a total different way, then that would be considered a project. But regular adds, moves, changes, things like that are included.
Any other questions?
Halsey, just one quick question. I guess that you just bring up something. I understand warranty, maintenance, and everything on it, but there's some susceptibilities to this new phone system based upon the new technology. If it were to go down, what's the turnaround to get the city back up?
Yep.
Yeah.
Am I still on? Yeah, sorry. I keep forgetting to push it so that it sounds for you. When you say to go down, I mean, we use the system at Datamax. We also have several other clients that use it. If your internet were to go down, right now, your phones would be down the way that you're currently set up. So you have a, quote, what they say voice over IP or voice over internet protocol connection. However, the way that it's set up, it comes in on a single line, and then each individual phone has to talk back to that main phone server. So if that phone server were to go down, there would be an outage. Also, if the internet were to go down, there would be an outage. In this particular instance, if the internet were to go down, you could use your cell phones. And so I have personally, as many years as we've sold the system and maintenance the system, not seen a complete outage. I mean, it's with, they have SLAs and they have downtime. However, if there were an issue, you pick up the phone, you call our support desk, and they jump on the issue, you know, within 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how bad it is. I mean, Katie, she has my cell phone number, so if she needs support, she usually will call if it's emergency, and I will get somebody on it immediately. I also live, I'm not in Haslet, but right off 156, and so I'm fairly close to the city, so if I needed to get over here for whatever reason, I could get over here as well. But I've not seen a complete outage. There's always a cell phone you can use. These particular phones, you could take them home and plug them in, and they would work just like you were at the city. They just need an internet connection. Does that answer your question? I mean, I understand there are particular SLAs for outages, for certain outages, but I have not seen a complete outage. I mean, this company that we work with is a large company with servers all over the place, all over the U.S., and so if they were to have an outage, other servers pick that back up.
You've basically answered. I was just concerned more, more of the safety type issue when it goes to fire or anything else like that. How anything would work if there's a downtime, what your turnaround time would be. That's more of a safety issue.
Okay, yeah, that's something that you call our support desk, and we get working on it. Depending on if it's fire and they're completely down, I generally would get somebody on it immediately. If I need a voicemail password changed and it's a non-emergency, then that's usually about an hour before that ticket gets assigned, and it could be faster.
Any other questions, Cal?
Mayor Halsey?
Yes.
I would like to make a motion to approve the ComCare Unified Communications proposal presented by Datamax for a new citywide phone system.
Motion is made to approve the ComCare Unified Communication proposal presented by Datamax for the new citywide phone system. Is there a second?
Mayor Halsey, I second.
There is a second. That was Councilman Hira. All right. Any further discussion? All in favor? Motion is unanimous. Motion passes. Thank you, council. 8B. Discuss, consider, and act on approving an ordinance reappointing municipal court of record judge and substitute judge and authorizing the municipal judge agreement. This is, again, it'll be Katie Potts, but this is something we do annually. So, Ms. Potts?
That's correct. Thank you. Yes. So our judge is appointed by ordinance. The last contract is set to expire January of 2024. So this will renew the agreement with our judge and associate judge. No changes from the previous year's contract being paid out of the municipal court account.
Council, do you have any questions for Ms. Potts? All right, then.
Mayor Halsey?
Yes.
I would like to make a motion to approve an ordinance reappointing municipal court of record judge and substitute judge and authorizing municipal judge agreement.
The motion is made to approve the ordinance reappointing municipal court of record judge and substitute judge and authorizing the municipal judge agreement. Is there a second?
Mayor Halsey, I'll second.
There is a second. Any further discussion? All right. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, council. 8C. Discuss, consider, and act on on approving Spectrum Enterprise Fiber Internet for 791 Schoolhouse Road, 1701 FM 156 South, and 101 Main Street. And 791 Schoolhouse Road is known as Public Works. 1701 FM 156 is our fire station. Of course, 101 Main Street is City Hall. And again, Ms. Potts.
Yes, so this is for a proposed Spectrum service order contract. The city currently contracts with New Horizons for speeds of 50 Mbps. This would increase the speeds at Public Works from 50 to 100 Mbps, Fire from 50 to 200 Mbps, and then City Hall from 50 to 500 Mbps. That will total $28,500 per year. This was an approved budgeted item. It was budgeted at $35,500. So there is a savings of $7,000 there. And with the new cloud-based phone system, this will help support that as with the growth of employees in the city, just to make a more faster, efficient internet for the city to use.
Thank you, Katie. Council, do you have any questions?
Yes, Mayor Halsey, I just had a question. I was a little confused because it said, did it end? Is it end over right now? It's ended on 4/27/2023. And then it said something about it'll renew at 4/27/2024. I was a little confused on the overlap of, do we have internet now? Not this date.
Yes, we still currently have that internet. After the contract ended, it goes to a month-to-month basis, and then auto renew in April 27 of 2024. But we have put a note with them to not do the auto renewal. So maybe a little bit of an overlap, but it will not over. We do, yes, currently have, of course, internet at the city. If this is approved, then this will go into effect, and then the other will end.
Okay, that answered my question. Thank you.
My question real quick is on the speeds that you're discussing, is that upload speeds only, or is that the download speeds, or is it equivalent?
I'm gonna let Richard answer that question.
Yeah, these are going to be synchronous speeds. So right now you are 50 over 50 at each site. And so when we do upgrade to Spectrum, and we did look at AT&T, we got pricing from several different vendors. When we do go to Spectrum, it will be 500 over 500 Mbps at City Hall, and then the 100 at Public Works, and the 200 at the Fire Department.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Council, any other questions? All right, then, it's to you.
Mayor Halsey,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Spectrum Enterprises fiber internet for 791 Schoolhouse Road, 1701 FM 156 South, and 101 Main Street.
Motion is made on approving the Spectrum Enterprise fiber internet for 791 Schoolhouse Road, 1701 FM 156 South, and 101 Main Street. Is there a second?
I second that.
There is a second. Any further discussion? I'll take the vote. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, council. 8D, discuss, consider, and act on approving ILA, which is interlocal agreement for fire services between the city of Fort Worth and city of Haslet for mutual aid fire services. And there's no one any more excited about this than Chief May. Take it away,
Well,
sir.
you stole my thunder. This is a momentous occasion in the Haslet Fire Department and the citizens we serve. It's pretty straightforward. We've been working towards this in steps to get this local agreement between Fort Worth and Haslet for mutual aid fire services, because in order to get to this final step, we had to have the maintain 3 firefighters on duty 24/7. And so we have met that goal. I would tell you this process started in February, and it's taken me till now to get this completed. And thank you, Jeremy, for your help during this process, but we're here. And so this will replace the previous amendments that we had, which included the call, a fee per call in the west side of our city. So that with this new contract, that fee has gone away. And so Fort Worth will now come anywhere in the city of Haslet with whatever resources are needed. And now we can return the favor and respond into the city of Fort Worth with our 3 firefighters as they need our resources. So just in summary, this is the mutual aid, and this is what I need you to approve tonight to make that happen. Once that happens, then there was a dispatch contract that allowed for the automatic aid. So since Fort dispatches for us, with these 2 agreements, now the computer will automatically manage all of that. And so that's going to take a little bit of time. So once we approve this, then we send it back to the city of Fort Worth for their approval, which there's no reason they would deny that. And then it's just going to take them a little bit of time to put in the computer, put the resources in, and then they have to test it. So what I believe would be a good go live date for all of that would be February 1. Get us through the holidays and get everything in and tested. And that's what we got. Any questions?
I have a question. Yes, sir. You said this city of Fort Worth, I'm assuming, is a certain area that we're supposed to cover, or is it just a broad Fort Worth that could be anywhere in Fort Worth?
In short, it's broad. It would be broad. I mean, but what they've learned through the other mutual aid cities, Saginaw, Lake Worth, and all them, is once they start getting sucked in too far, then they stop it and you come back. So, and we always have the ability to say no if something's going on crazy or busy in our community. This is the priority. They understand that. And we have the ability to say no, we can't go, send the next unit, and vice versa. So we'll always take care of us first.
A good thing about this, we essentially, the Fort Worth and Haslet Fire Department inventory kind of comes as one. And with the Fort Worth dispatching, they know where all their equipment is. So they're not going to call Haslet to go to Hewitt Mall. That's not going to happen. So it's all in the immediate service area. But it's not defined in a contract, only this area. But just what, I'll say efficient use of resources would not, it keeps us in the general area.
It's all AVL generated, so the computer in the fire truck lets them know where you're at, and so it's a closest unit response.
No, it's been a long road. We started down this road when we decided, council, when you decided to go to a full-time fire department. So what's that, 2 years ago? And this is the final step.
Mayor Halsey,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion approving the ILA for fire services between the city of Fort Worth and Haslet for mutual aid fire services.
Motion is made to approve the ILA for fire services between the city of Fort Worth and the city of Haslet for mutual aid fire services. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There is a second. Any further discussion? All right, I call for the vote. All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you, council. Congratulations, chief. Item 8E, discuss, consider, and act on the second renewal of Kimberly Horn and Associates authorization for additional professional engineering services associated with the Avondale Haslet Road, Haslet Parkway Connector Road project. This is something that we do annually. Kimberly Horn is the engineer of record on this project and has when the project was probably first conceived. So this is $50,000. It's budgeted item, and it will what that covers is Kimberly Horn's response to advise any particular issues associated, like managing the utility companies and just running the gamut of engineering with is a connector. Someone wants to connect have a new opening. Well, they do all that. They do the engineering and the coordination with TxDOT, and they're very active. They're pretty busy.
Mayor Halsey, one question on that. I know, and it's not for maybe this year and that too, because I know that we have to continue this through this next year, but is there going to be some type of discussion next year on apportionment of Haslet Parkway is going to be completed in 2025? So it's not going to be the total $50,000, or we plan on Kimberly Horn from here on out? Any type of question?
Well, Kimberly Horn will be the project engineer of record until this project is finished. And what that is next year, I don't know. And I would expect the same, but there's been no discussion about that. In fact, as they get on the west side of 156, that is the most complicated area. And there's where much of the time has been spent the last year and a half, is addressing the west side of FM 156.
And I guess that wherein lies my question, because you're going to have a lot of questions for the completion of Haslet Parkway, but my understanding too is as soon as Haslet Parkway is completing, we're going to start looking at the bridge project, and we're going to continue with Kimberly Horn, or those are going to be further discussions?
That design is under the auspices of TxDOT, and that is they hire a third-party engineer to do that bridge. But hopefully here in several months, there's been discussions between Mayor and TxDOT, or probably North Central Texas Council of Government, and as to what the completion of Haslet Parkway looks like and the timing when that bridge is built. There might be opportunity it's built at the same time the road's being built. It may be an opportunity. So I can't say any more than that, but hopefully in the coming weeks or months or so, I can share with you on that.
Mayor Halsey.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the second renewal of Kimberly Horn and Associates authorization for additional professional engineering services associated with the Avondale Haslet Parkway Connector Road project.
Motion is made to approve the Kimberly Horn additional professional engineering services. Is there a second?
Mayor Halsey, I'll second.
There is a second. Any further discussion or questions? All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you, council. Item F, 8F. Discuss, consider, and act on granting Mr. Eric Crawford permission to place temporary fencing across city-owned property. In your packet, there is a diagram. If you would bring that up, please. Go to the second drawing. We'll start there. Yes, that one. So everything in yellow is city-owned property. At one time, way back when, for my time, and I don't know whose time, but they were planning on looks like building a lake, and you know, it's something I wouldn't do. I wouldn't recommend that at all. But that is city-owned property. It's not maintained right now. Well, it is occasionally. It's gone out and it's mowed every, you know. It doesn't receive the mowing that City Hall does, and all right, and also there is this Park Road here. There's no plans for that. There's no intent to build anything there. Nonetheless, Mr. Crawford is requesting. You see the two marks, place tent fencing, a 36-foot section and a 106-foot section. Mr. Crawford owns all the property surrounding this. If you go to the next slide, the previous slide, there again, there is the request, and that would leave all that open to be grazed, as I understand, and that would be, and plus much of that is a floodplain through there, and that would help maintenance of it. Anyway, Mr. Crawford, would you like to come up and address the council?
Center button. There we go. So people online can hear. Some of you are aware that this property had been abandoned for 14 years. My wife and I bought this 4 years ago, redid the house. So we started working on the fences. All the fences were in disrepair, and we took the fences down and repaired a bunch of them in 2020, repaired a few of them in 2022. And the last one to repair is the big section that goes all the way around the last portion. So we tore the fence down that had been there 40 years or so, and when we went to get the permit to put it back up, found out that we can't put a fence across city property, though the fence was previously there. And so we're just asking to be able to put the fence back up where it was and continue this so that our goats can graze that section of property.
I'll tell you, I have struggled to what's the appropriate address. I mean, if you were a doctor, it would be Dr. Crawford. But is it Reverend Crawford or Mr.
Preacher,
Crawford?
pastor, Eric's fine.
Anyway, Mr. Crawford.
Yes.
It's also agreed, it would be agreed upon, should the city need access, he would grant the access, but also if he's notified by the city, he'll take that temporary fencing down.
Good job. And by the way, we put in the phone system you guys are talking about, not the same company, same thing, and a new internet service. Amazing. We did that a year ago. Your employees are going to love it. But I don't know anything technical. So yes, it'll be the 4 foot or the 4 foot no climb fence, easily taken down, a few snips of some baling wire, and it can come down just in a few minutes. So if the city needed to have access to it, we just take it down.
Very good. Council, do you have any questions for Mr. Crawford?
I just have a question for Jeremy, I guess. Is there any liability that we could face if the goats got out and caused an accident or something?
So I would recommend that in your motion that you would authorize the mayor to execute a license agreement with this property owner. And so that way we can paper up an agreement with Mr. Crawford, and a license agreement would simply allow him to use and access the property and place this fence on it. And we could, in that agreement, we would be able to put liability waivers and all that kind of stuff to protect the city. And so, and that way, you give that authorization, we can just negotiate into that contract, forward with it.
Very good. Good advice. Any other questions?
Mayor Holsey,
Yes.
I would like to make a motion to grant Mr. Crawford permission by a licensing agreement with the mayor to place temporary fencing across city-owned property.
Motion is made to grant the request of Mr. Crawford permission to place temporary fencing across city-owned property via executing a license agreement. Did I get that correct?
I'll second that, Mayor.
There is a second. Any further discussion? I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Unanimous?
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Page. AG is discuss, consider, and act on the issuance of a certificate that proves by operation of law the final plat submitted for the property located at 451 Blue Mound Road East on or about June 30th, 2022, as requested by Haley Mack, the applicant. This has been an interesting plat, and it's very simple, and I don't know, but nonetheless, this has gone through all the documents that the city has on this, and in conjunction with Mr. Page and others in his firm, it has been determined that this was approved by operation of law. What that means, when a plat comes in, a clock starts. Plat comes in and is determined to be a complete application, a clock starts. A 30-day clock starts for the P&Z to hear this. If it doesn't get heard by that 30th day, then the following day it's approved by operation of law, and there was no action on that. I'm putting very simply, Mr. Page can expound on this. Likewise, then there is a 30-day clock for the city council to hear this, and that did not occur, and therefore it was approved by operation of law. That's a very, I'll say, layman overview. Mr. Page.
That was a pretty good overview. So under state law, for the last few years now, plats have to be reviewed and acted on within 30 days of the complete application being submitted to the city. And so that changed just a little bit this year, but at the time that this was submitted last summer, they had 30 days from the date that the application was determined complete. And so looking at internal notes for the city, the application was submitted at the end of June. That determination was made sometime in mid-July. However, it was not scheduled for a P&Z meeting until the end of August, so that was closer to about 45 days. At that meeting, I wasn't present for, and so we do have the minutes for that. But the P&Z commission, they made a motion to recommend disapproval of the plat for I think a couple of different things, partly because of the right-of-way dedication was not shown on the plat, and perhaps other issues with the application itself. Now, however, under our ordinances, any action taken by P&Z on a plat, they still have to go to the council, and so that never went to council. And so for both of those reasons, those are procedural errors on the city's part, and they are significant because under state law, the plat application is approved by operation of law. And so under our ordinance, under state law, they're similar, almost exactly the same language. What happens now is that the applicant has the right to request a certificate showing that it was approved on the state, so that way when it gets submitted to the county for filing, there's some sort of acknowledgement by the city saying that this was approved. And so that's what's happening tonight. You can see in the packet there is that certificate outlining when the application was submitted, the fact that it was not reviewed within the appropriate time frame, and that this has now been approved as a matter of law. And so this is one of those instances where this law says you shall submit this certificate, and so you all are of course welcome to vote how you wish, but the state law does mandate that this be issued by the city council.
That was my question. It was the aspect, if this was done by operation of law, and yes, if they need the certificate, is there any action that we truly need to do from a city council?
We discussed that, and in our ordinance, it states the city council shall issue. That's why it's here. The city council shall issue the certificate. So now, and you really don't have any choice, is for you to issue this certificate.
Okay, Mayor Holstein, I would like to make a motion to issue the certificate that approves by operational law the final plat submitted for the property located at 451 Blue Mound Road East on or about June 30th, 2022, as requested by Mahaley Mack, the applicant.
The motion is made to issue the certificate that approves by operational law that final plat submitted for the property located at 451 Blue Mound Road East on or about June 30th, 2022, as requested by Haley Mack, the applicant. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a second. Any further discussion?
Yes, I have a question. So what if there's a city ordinance that goes against this plat? For example, if the lots had been less than half an acre, what happens then? Now you've got a situation where you're against a city ordinance, but because of what happened here, then we're supposed to allow this to happen? I know it's not the case here, but if it did happen that way, then what would happen? Would we have any recourse?
So the plat would almost certainly, that would supersede any of our ordinance. And so if we have approved something, whether by failing to act or by erroneously approving it, we wouldn't have much of any ability to enforce the subdivision ordinance, because that's really what we would be looking at. With the plat, we would be trying to enforce those issues after the fact if it's in conformance with the plat that was approved by the council. So we would be in really murky legal territory if we were to try to enforce things that have already been approved. They would essentially be grandfathered in more than likely based off what was approved on the plat.
What, Councilman, what you are recognizing, it is very important that these timelines, 30 days, to PNC and to council be adhered to with all due diligence. A key start point, what starts that clock, is language that in this case exists in city records, completed application. That starts everything. So, but you're recognizing something can get approved. This is not the case here, but you just shouldn't have.
The next question is, do we have something internally that procedures in place so this doesn't happen? And so obviously what the mayor's saying, yeah, here's a date, these are the 3 or 4 of them coming up, we have to do something that make sure that it gets, presented.
And so something that is recently was explicitly authorized by state law is for cities to adopt submission schedules so that we can say this is the date you have to submit it on, so that we know when they'll be submitted, and that we'll have a full 30 days before the P&Z meeting to review and consider it in time. And so that should be coming to you at the next meeting to kind of adopt that schedule. And so that way applicants know when they can actually submit things that way. These kind of issues don't happen again. At the same time, there has been kind of internal coaching and other things like that to ensure that the defects that we thought were here that prevented it from being taken to council were not issues that actually should have prevented that. And so there's some internal measures that were taken and some other things that will be taken for the next council, so that way this doesn't happen.
Any further questions?
Yeah, I see Ms. Mack is online. I just for clarification purposes, the plat that's presented in our packet, prepared by Eagle Surveying, showing, the lot 1 of, 1.0 acres, lot 2 of 1.03 acres, and lot 3. This is the plat that you're wanting approved.
It's already approved, but this is what you're giving the certificate on.
Okay, this is what she asked for.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Any other questions? This is a very rare occurrence. I believe the first in Haslet's history, and a very rare occurrence among municipalities at all. We will do all our best not to be here again. Any other questions, comments? All right. So it's been motioned and seconded, and so I'll call for the vote on or of issuing the certificate. Yeah. It's unanimous. Thank you, council. Ms. Mack, again, I have apologize to Ms. Mack about 65 times, make this 66, all right? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. We have item 8H. Discuss, consider, and act on approving a letter of intent and resolution authorizing the mayor to execute the letter of intent, LOI, between the city of Haslet and the city of Fort Worth related to extraterritorial jurisdiction. I'm going to let Mr. Page, but we have all been working on this and together for quite some time, and we have a little map if we need to show it, but why don't you go ahead and get that up, pull that up for Mr. Page. He might want to reference it, but please, go ahead.
So I know that a lot of you guys know that in the most recent legislative session, the state legislature adopted Senate Bill 2038, which allows essentially any property owner within the extraterritorial jurisdiction of any municipality to submit a petition and request to be released from the ETJ with limited to almost no recourse from the city. So the city cannot say no. We have to release it essentially within 45 days, so long as the application or the petition that is procedurally correct. They also have the option to do an election, but again, for the most part, these are individual property owners releasing themselves from the ETJ. What we have seen, at least with one property owner so far, is that as soon as they get released from our ETJ, they have gone to Fort Worth to request annexation or to request to be put into Fort Worth ETJ. And I would imagine Fort Worth has probably faced similar circumstances, if not more so, considering they have such a significantly larger size, probably many more property owners and many more petitions for that. And so what's happening here, and we're asking for your approval tonight, is for a letter of intent to state that Haslet will not accept any former owners of ETJ Fort Worth. So if someone had property in Fort Worth ETJ and they requested Fort Worth be released from that ETJ, we do not accept them into ours, and vice versa. So, for example, the one property owner that used to be in Haslet's ETJ, Fort Worth, when they were asked if they could petition in Fort Worth, told them no. And so that's pretty much, this is saying this is going to be our policy moving forward. Now, it is just a letter of intent. It is not an interlocal agreement, so there's no contractual obligation on either side, but this is a statement from the council and a promise essentially to the city of Fort Worth that this is how we're going to kind of manage things moving forward with any future request for properties to be added to our ETJ should that occur in the future, and vice versa. So.
I'll make note is that the Fort Worth City Council tomorrow afternoon will hear the same documents and for approval. And so we're executing the same document and essentially in working with Fort Worth for the last many months since Senate Bill 2038 is this is kind of a soft approach as to address this situation, that this is all new territory with regard to the law, and but this is a good agreement saying, you know, we're not going to take each other's ETJ or swap CCNs, convenience certificates of convenience and of necessity, which a CCN is issued to municipalities to provide water to certain areas within your municipality or jurisdiction. And noted that someone can petition, actually it's just yes, petition apply, being a landowner, that I want out of your CCN and turn around and say, hey, city XYZ, I want you to serve. And so this agreement addresses both ETJ and CCN, that we will not accept either municipality's former CCN or ETJ unless we both agree, and that would have to come to the council of each respective municipality. Mr. Page?
That's right. And then, if you have any questions for me, I'm happy.
I had one question. On the background information, it says, as a result of the act, some property owners have effectuated the release. So is that in Haslet, or right now we just had one? Is that just overall in Texas?
We've received 4 petitions, and
Okay.
so 3 of them have been completed, and the area has been released. A 4th one remains pending, and that will be released around Christmas. But we have not received any since September 1st. We received 4 on September 1st, right around then. 2 of them were procedurally incorrect. They're sent back in October, and we're at the 45 days after the previous 45-day deadline. And so, but no new ones have been submitted since then.
That's my question. How many property owners? So 4. So, thank you.
I have a question. I guess a property owner would want to do this to get the services of another city. If the city says that they're not going to accept them and we release them, then what happens?
So they are stacking, and so, for example, the property owner of the litter south, the trail track, they are still within our CCN, and so if they are wanting sewer, I believe they're in our sewer CCN.
Well, we don't have a CCN on sewer.
So they're in our water.
But they do have our water CCN.
And so they're still required to get water from us. But because they're in county, they aren't going to be receiving Fort Worth fire or police, or they won't be subject to zoning or anything like that. So they were essentially stuck in simply Tarrant County, unincorporated Tarrant County, for the indefinite future. They could always come back to us.
They can't petition the city to take them back in.
And if they do, are we required to take them back in? Or does
No.
it come before council?
It comes before the city council, and you are not required to do
Okay,
that.
because if they ask to be out, then we're forced, it doesn't come before city council. We're required by the state to let them out. But if they ask to come in, then it's not forced by the state to let them back in.
No, it's
They
not
have to come
forced.
back before the council. Okay, and I also wanted to make the comment, Mayor Holsey, I want to thank you for working with Fort Worth and bringing this to everyone's attention. I know you put a lot of hours in this, and I appreciate it for the benefit of the city, Haslet.
Well, thank you. Call in today's Mr. Page.
I'll ask one question just based upon the property that we talked about. If they do, and they're now county, and that, so if they do move forward to try to do anything, one, they can't get our water, for one.
No, they can get our water.
They can get the water?
Yeah.
But 2, would they be able to get fire services, sheriff services through the county? Okay.
And they're not going to get a diluted service. I mean, they're right here in our front door, you know. So it's not a threat of anything. But as an example, our last meeting, we formally annexed John Day Road, did we not? And in that annexation, you have to have a services agreement for that annexed area. It states very explicitly about the level of service, and that level of service will be the same as anywhere else within our corporate limit of the city of Haslet. That doesn't hold true for something out in the county, but they will get appropriate county level response. But that's not going to be much different from what we respond to in the city. Did that answer your question? Any further questions? All right then.
Mayor Halsey,
Yes.
I would like to make a motion to approve a letter of intent and resolution authorizing the mayor to execute the LOI between the city of Haslet and the city of Fort Worth related to the extraterritorial jurisdiction.
The motion is made to approve the letter of intent and the resolution authorizing the mayor to execute the said letter of intent between City of Haslet and City of Fort Worth related to extraterritorial jurisdiction. Is there a second?
Mayor Holsey, I'll second.
There is a second. Any further discussion?
Yes, I just had one other question. When did you say it's going to Fort Worth council meeting?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yes.
And it's an identical resolution and letter of
Mayor Holsey, based on that too, we will get at least let us know if they.
We will get a document back, you know, we will forward ours to them, and they will forward theirs to us to show that it was executed. The question. Any further questions? Any discussion? I call for the vote. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, council. Item 8I. Discuss, consider, and act on ratifying the mayor's exclusion from the settlement agreement in City of Hampton at all versus 3M Company case number 223. I wish I knew what CP means. Mr. Page, would you like to read through this item?
Sure. Yes, it's you want me to read the actual consider that one?
Yeah.
Find the mayor's exclusion from settlement agreement in the City of Camden et al. Versus 3 Company case number 223-CV-03147-RNG in August Film Form Foams Products Liability Litigation MDL number 2-18-MN-2873-RMG. Exclusion from settlement agreement in the City of Camden et al. Versus EI DuPont Des Moires and Company et al. Case number 223-CV-03230-RMG Enray Aqueous Film Forming Foams Product Liability Litigation MDL number 2-18-MN-287-RMG.
Thank you, Mr. Page. You know why it was so easy for him? That's the way they talk in their office.
Yeah.
But our attorney brought this to our attention some time back. We had a deadline to act on that, and I did act on that. And it's been submitted, and this is asking for the council's ratification, but that's my introduction. Mr. Page, take it, please.
Back, typically, in a normal class action settlement that the city is a party to or could be a part of the settlement class, the city will get notice of the ability to either opt in or opt out, or whatever it may be. We may automatically be opt in, or we may have to choose to opt in. However it may be, we have a deadline to do that. We can take to the council within that time period. You all can make consideration and determination as to whether to opt in or opt out. However, with these lawsuits, for whatever reason, there are two different lawsuits, one versus 3M, one versus DuPont, both regarding this PFAS product that has contaminated potentially the water lines and the water supply throughout the country. And so both companies have reached settlement agreements with these two cities, of which the city could potentially be a member of the class. Now, what happened in this case, they reached the settlement, I think, in early November, and then they told cities about it in mid-November, and then they gave a deadline of December 1st and December 8th to send in any opt-outs. And so during that November timeframe, the major water providers in the DFW Metroplex recommended to their clients to opt out of the settlement because of various factors, but most specifically because of the lack of funds that would likely be available to adequately address that problem. And so, for example, the city of Haslet may, even if they were a member of the class, they may not get any funds because they don't have their own water treatment facility. and there's not an ability for the city of Haslet to receive any funds because all our funds would technically go to the city of Fort Worth, which is the master water provider from which we get ours from. And so North Texas Municipal Water District, City of Dallas, City of Fort Worth, they are all recommending to their member cities to opt out. In our case, the city has never received notice whether that we should opt in or opt out. We never received notice from the actual class action lawsuit. And so, however, that doesn't mean we weren't part of the class, because apparently there was lots of issues with the notice. And so many places did not receive notice that should have, and some you wouldn't have thought should have received notice, they did get some. And so preemptively, when speaking with the mayor, we decided it would be best to send out an opt-out. Just in case we were a member of the class, and then to have that later ratified. And again, because this didn't even come to our attention until after the November City Council meeting, again, this is how quickly it's been. This is our first opportunity for you all to ratify it. And of course, if you have any questions or anything along those lines, I'm happy to answer it. That's kind of the major, just how this happened. And again, it's not usual. This is not normal operating procedure or how cities are supposed to opt out of things, but unfortunately, put us up against a really hard deadline, and we had to submit our paperwork by a certain date.
Council.
I have several questions. First of all, if you don't have a water treatment facility, then why would you be included in the class action lawsuit?
Because there's potentially that they contaminate the water lines, and so the actual water lines that the city does control could need to be modified or replaced or anything along those lines. So that's why pretty much any members of the class are pretty much anybody who has any water in any way. So, and because it's such a large class, potential claim, that's one of the issues why a lot of cities are opting out, is because it's such a small amount of money to be literally spread to every city across the country that provides water.
But the cities that do have water treatment facilities, they're opting in. Is that correct?
I believe that the water providers are asking each of the cities to opt out.
They're opting out. City of Fort Worth is opting out.
Okay, so the next question is, what's a harm in opting in? If you're not going to get any funds, if there's none available, by being in a class action lawsuit, let's say there is, and you've already opted out, what's the harm in opting in versus opting out? Or is there any harm in opting in?
Sure. So if you fail to opt out, that means you are stuck with whatever the settlement agreement is. And so there would be no way to later on allege any claims against these companies. And so if we were to receive any money through these settlements and we didn't opt out, we could never sue them again. We would be forever tied to that settlement agreement, versus by opting out later on, we could form our own class potentially with the other member cities, with the city of Fort Worth, to file our own claims or to try to receive additional compensation later on. So by opting out, it actually gives us a bit more leeway and flexibility for that.
Let me add something else to this. This class action lawsuit, this settlement is, I understand, the total amount. Now, this when this page says the entire country, he's talking about all the United States. Every water treatment plant, anybody that municipality delivers water. Now, their settlement agreement is in the neighborhood of a total of $13 billion. That probably wouldn't begin to be tracked if it ever came to the point there has to be active mitigation, remove PFA. It wouldn't even begin to address $13 billion across the entire nation, would not begin. So that's the fallacy of staying in. When you opt out, you go, thank you very much, I'm not going to be part of that $13 billion. If and when we have a problem and we know what the cost of remediation is going to be, then we'll come knocking on your door. The best thing to do, since there's a lot of unknowns, is to opt out and keep our full in, and $13 billion spread across the entire United States for every water system out there would be against strike. That's why I recommend that you opt out.
Also, one more question. So this is the city of Camden, New Jersey, I'm assuming? And are all the other big cities also opting out?
So, according to the attorneys that are on the case, most of the cities that are opting out are coming out of Texas, and so it's a coordinated effort by not just the DFW area, but apparently other water providers throughout Texas. And so, I'm not sure the process or how that got started, or who kind of began the opting out process here in Texas, but it seems to be, from what I understand, is that the vast majority of the cities that are opting out are here in Texas. So this is kind of a coordinated effort within, like I said, the water providers here in Texas. And so I can't speak to who else has opted out outside of the country, but I do know that many of the cities in the DFW area have opted out, including many of our clients in our office. And so.
So again, as a recap, I've already signed the paperwork. That's opted out, and I'm asking for your ratification. Any further discussion or questions?
Well, I'll give it a shot. I have to say, can I just say stated? All right. I'd like to make a motion to ratify the mayor's exclusion from settlement agreement in City of Camden versus 3M Company as stated.
Halsey, I second.
There is a second, but also as a matter of, it does include DuPont. Motion and seconded to approve or ratifying the mayor's exclusion from the settlement agreement with regard to the case of price lawsuit involving Bree and DuPont. I understand the motion and second. Is that correct? All right. Any further discussion? All in favor? It's approved. Thank you, council. Item 9, there is no executive session. Again, discussion, interview practice. Item 11, future agenda items. Council, any of you have anything on future agenda items? Do note that note that the traffic analysis, study analysis, will be on the January meeting.
Mayor, that was my question. So is a traffic analysis statement or analysis, or what's the difference between the two?
They analyze the traffic. It is a speed study. It's called a speed study, but it is a traffic analysis of FM 156 from the north to the south. It addresses multiple items. Again, next week, by the end of next week, you should have, I'll be advancing you a finished version of that speed analysis for your advanced study. It will be on the city council at the end of January. All right, any council, do you have any items? All right, then let's move on to item number 12. May I get a motion?
Mayor Halsey, I move to adjourn.
Motion made to adjourn. Second?
I second.
Is the second. All in favor? Unanimous. Council, thank you. And again, Merry Christmas to all. Happy New Year.